Hi there and welcome to learntocreategame.com. Today we'll have a look at classes in C# and more importantly we'll have a look at instantiation. We'll also have a look at how to basically create NPC that will follow the users and also specify their position at instantiation. So let's get started. So here what you can see is the previous project, so again from the previous tutorial. So again, we have three different NPCs, all based on the same class. So again, if I play the scene, what you should see is three different objects, so sphere, path, and sphere again. And those three different objects have been instantiated based on the class that we have created earlier on. So again, if you look at this particular program, you have first in the start function here, three different objects based on the class called myNPC, and then I'm going to print their properties. In the class called myNPC, basically we have several member variables and member methods, and some of them will basically create the object, so using the constructor, and also modify some of their features. So what we would like to do now, we're going to define a variable called target that will be used later on, and the idea is that the NPCs will start to move toward a specific target. So again, I'm going to create a target, and I will also create a function that will basically set the target for these particular instances. So again, in this particular method, I will set the target of a particular object to what is passed as a parameter. So again, there are a few errors here. The first one you might have guessed already, set target, the access modifier, not the access modifier, the return type should be specified, so it should be a void, and new target should not have the opened and closed brackets. So again, something to modify. The second method that I'm creating here is a new constructor. And in this constructor, what I'd like to do is to be able to instantiate a new object of class myNPC. But for this object, I just want to specify the X, Y, and Z position. And the idea is that using this information, I should be able then to create a corresponding sphere at the position specified in the parameter passed when the constructor is called. So in my example here, if you might remember from the previous tutorial, I had a variable called visual object or visual representation, and the idea was that this visual representation would give an indication of where the object is in the virtual space. So again here, this virtual object is set, so its position is set using the new coordinates passed as parameters, so new X pose, new Y pose, and new Z pose. So again, here we've got if you look at Unity, you have a few errors here, and again, they are referring to what I was mentioning earlier on. So the first thing, if I go back to my class here, there are a few errors. The first thing is that I need to specify a return type. It's going to be void because this function is not returning anything. Okay. And then we have another error. The new target, I should not have open and close brackets because I'm not calling a function, I'm just setting a variable. So before this is done, I also set another function called setPosition, and this function or method called setPosition will also take three parameters, the X, Y, and Z coordinates, and set the position of our visual object with this information. So again, a few more errors. Let's go back. That's here referring to the closing and opening brackets. Okay, so just delete those, save. So now we should be pretty much okay to go. We have only error warning messages, no error messages. So what I will do is create those three objects, which is already done, and then set their position. So again, for the first non-player character, I'm setting a position to 0, 0, 0, and we'll do the same for the second and third character. So again, the only thing I will change is their X position. So again, I'm going to remove the 3 for the second one, and use just a change on the X position. So again, it's going to be 1 for the first, 3 for the second one, and 5 for the third one. So if I save this and play my scene, you should see those 3 spheres appearing at the position specified earlier. So again, we have, now the only issue is there is a small issue in the code, you might have spotted it. The actual NPC at where set was just NPC1. So what I need to do is to go back to the code and make sure that I'm setting the position for NPC1, 2, and 3. You can see in this one, in this code, only the position for NPC1 was changed. I need to change to 2 and 3, save my code again, and then go back to Unity. If I play the scene, then I should have 3 different spheres at different locations. There you go. Okay, so those are your 3 spheres, and they've been created thanks to the method, or the member method called setPosition. So what I try to do now is to create a target for these NPCs. And the idea is that whenever I have set the target, these NPCs will start to move towards the target. So again, I'm going to create this target symbolized by a sphere, change its name to target1, and once this is done, I just need to go back to my script and make sure that these different NPCs are going towards the target. But before that even, I'm going to create a function that will actually set them in movement so that they can move forward. So again, I'm setting the target for this object. So again, NPC1, the target, in fact there is an error here, we might see that later. It should be set target. But that might be modified at a later stage. So again, we have a few errors here, and we're going to change it to set target. Okay, set target again, and set target. The reason for that is that target is not accessible from outside the class. Therefore, we will have an error if we try to do so. That's the reason why we need getters and or setters that are accessible publicly. So, next thing to do is to create 2 different functions or 2 different methods. One of them will move the objects forward. So again, I'm going to create a new method. This new method will be called move forward. So the idea will be to move the object forward. Now we don't need any parameters. Actually we will, but yeah, the parameter will be the time. So we'll have a look at that later. So again, the float is the type and time is the variable. And here we just need to take our visual object, so the one that we can see in Unity, and translate it forward. And the speed will be determined by the time. If you prefer, sorry, the movement will be determined by the time. So again, I'm going to use a vector, sorry, transform the translate to translate it. I'm going to use vector3.forward to specify that this object should go forward, and then we multiply by 1, so it's going to be about 1 meter per second, and multiply by the time itself. In fact, we could remove that later, but I think it's a good practice to put it there. Save. And again, what I will do is, we have an error here, so again, the return type was not specified, we just need to specify it for a function. So again, go back to the main function and make sure that this is the type void, because we are not returning any value. The void is the type for this function, the return type. So again, we're going to go back to this function here, and in the update, what we will do is simply move forward every single one of these NPCs every time the function or the method update is called. And as a parameter, we're going to pass time.delta time. Okay, so again, we move NPC1, NPC2, and NPC3 forward. So once this is done, Again, the issue here is that NPC1 is mentioned in the function update, but it's not available globally in the class or in this script. So what I need to do is to declare these variables globally so they can be accessed anywhere or throughout this script. So again, they are declared outside any function, which means that they are global and they can be accessed throughout our script. So again, here I'm just changing the definition in the start function. And once this is done, we should be pretty much ready to go. So again, I'm going to press on play. And here, you should see that these objects are moving forward. So that's working pretty well. What I'd like to do next really is for this object to move toward a specific target. So to do so, I will need to set the target, which is done already, and then to create a method that will be called move towards target. So this method basically will do the same as move forward. The only difference is that it will look first at the target and then look forward. So again, I'm going to call this function move towards target. And then, before even translating, we're gonna make sure that we look at the target. So again, visual object transform.lookAt. Okay, it's a static function. Actually, sorry, it's not a static function. It's a function that you can use because it's defined for most or all the transforms. So again, visual object.transform.lookAt, and then I'm gonna find the target, which is target 1. But again, the target has been specified earlier on, so we should be okay. Actually, it's specified in the set target, so we'll have to make sure that we set the target before we call this function. So again, this is done, so we look at the particular target, and then we're just going to move forward. Okay, you can see in this script the target has been set for all of these objects. So again, instead of using move forward, we're going to use move towards target. Okay, so again, now you don't really need to do that right now. In fact, it has been done already in the start function, so there was actually no need for it, but let's go ahead with it anyway. And then what we just need to do is to change the move forward to the move towards target, and we should be okay. Yeah, we are missing a T uppercase for target, so it's going to be modified very quickly. Again, I'm going to check the syntax and in this class and go back again. And again here, just modify the first line and copy paste it twice, and we should be okay to go then. Now target should be T uppercase. So again, if I save this and go back to Unity, it will tell me that there is an error, which is pretty much normal. So again, if you see this type of error, you should know that, well, you should see that basically if it doesn't have any definition for such a function, either it wasn't defined, sorry, or it was misspelled. So again, if I play the scene right now after saving my script, they should all go toward the target, and if I move the target around, they will follow it. So that works pretty well for us right now. We have 2 NPCs. The next thing we could do really is to change their speed. The idea is that the 3 NPC right now are moving toward the target at the exact same speed. And what we could do is maybe try to add a few features for this NPC. So again, I'm going to create a float variable called speed, and I'm going to change or have different values for the NPCs. Okay, so again, I'm going to change one of the constructors and set the speed. So what I'm doing here is I'm modifying the movement so that it accounts for the speed of the NPC. And the last thing I will do is to again create a member method to set the speed for a particular NPC. So again, I will need to pass a parameter, which will be new speed, and the speed of this NPC will be equal to the new speed specified as a parameter. So once this is done, I just need to save this script, go back to the control game script, and set the speed of each of the actual NPCs. Okay, so we're using npc.setSpeed, and again, using 1 for the first one, I'm going to use different values then for the second and third NPC. So speed of 2 for the second one and 3 for the third one. So if we save this scene again, that's done. So if we save this script, go back to Unity, again, and play the scene, you should see that the NPCs now are moving at different speeds. So again, if I move my target, you will see the NPCs moving towards my target at different speeds. It's because when I set the method setSpeed, I specify different speeds for every one of these NPCs. So that's it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. Again, if you want to know more about Unity, please check the website www.learntocreategames.com. See you. Bye.